New York and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
So Reese Witherspoon tweeted, "My heart is broken for Nia Wilson and Nia Wilson's family and friends. Say her name. Hashtag justice for Nia."
Then Anne Hathaway went farther with it, where she said, the murder of Nia Wilson, may she rest in the power and peace she was denied here, is unspeakable and must not be met with silence. She is not a hashtag. She was a black woman and she was murdered in cold blood by a white man. White people, including me, including you, must take into the marrow of our privileged bones the truth that all black people fear for their lives daily in America and have done so for generations. White people do not have equivalents for this fear of violence. Given those givens, we must ask our white selves, how decent are we really? Not in our intent, but in our actions, in our lack of action. Peace and prayers and justice for Nia and the Wilson family. Note, the comments for this post are closed.
She wasn't trying to hear it.
I'm not trying to hear it. And I read this now because, we're living at a time where we are all being confronted with realities that are making us uncomfortable. Certain communities are more accustomed to harsh realities than others. But those of us, when I say us, I mean the greater us, American people can hear my voice, are accustomed to a life of privilege where we don't necessarily have to deal with these heartbreaks every day. Even the father of Nia Wilson, and if you don't know the story of Nia Wilson, she was waiting for a train. She's 18 years old, waiting for a train with her sister, and an a-hole came up and stabbed her, killing her and cut her sister's throat. Her sister didn't die. And people have alleged that the murderer was associated with a white supremacist group in the Bay Area. That hasn't been substantiated.
Yeah, in reading through it, it's just not quite clear. The crimes that they allege him of previously are like there's some violent crimes, there's robberies, but it's the people are speculating that was the source of it.
Now in the Bay Area, there is a white supremacist group called the Proud Boys, and people are saying that this dude is associated with that.
Proud Boys is national too.
Oh, it's
They're here too.
And what is that?
It's kind of complicated and hard to explain, but I listened to a podcast about them about 6 months ago. They're one of these sort of newish groups that they're not outright white supremacy. It's more like this pathetic, woe is me. We white men are like
under attack.
We're under attack, and we're taking back our masculinity, and we're like I would be the poster boy of hatred for a group like the Proud Boys.
Why? Because you're like pro-feminism and all of these
pro-black, pro-feminism. They are the anti-snowflake cuck white people. They are. So don't get me wrong. It is white supremacy, but don't picture necessarily
KKK hood and Confederate flag.
Don't picture that. Picture more looking like yuppie and suit and tie and that kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like I said, we are all dealing with, right now in this climate, conversations and realities that are making us uncomfortable. Because clearly the Proud Boys are being made uncomfortable.
Yeah, apparently they're not as proud as they think.
Check this out. So I just looked it up in Wikipedia, the Proud Boys. They said it was founded in 2016 by Vice Media co-founder Gavin McInnes.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Vice Media.
Whoa. Is he still with them?
No. I think they were like, I think they completely separated themselves from him.
It's none of my business. But I have heard that the good old boy network of Vice Media is annoying to people, and that's why some people have left working there. Because they felt like they couldn't make the amount of money that they were deserved to make because of the hierarchy as it is inside Vice. That's what I was told. So I don't know if that maybe carries on because of this
that
founder
dude's energy, yeah,
and brought people.
They're trying
in
to
that.
separate themselves from that,
Right.
now for sure. But this is scary, man. I saw another story yesterday of you see that video Sean King posted of that black man who was followed home by that racist in a
yes.
truck, and they just comes up and he's just like, I just want to tell you you're an N-word. And the guy's like, what? You cut me off, whatever. And he's like, I just want to let you know you're an N-word. Blah, blah, blah. And he's just sitting
And
in
the guy's like, I'm an N-word because I was following the traffic signals and you weren't?
it was
The guy followed him home, guys. How scary is that?
And the guy was in his work truck and he was I think this was in Ohio. Was this Ohio?
Yeah, I think so.
Guy had a state license of his, he's a licensed by the state, like heating and air, maybe plumber, something like that.
Yeah, the phone number was smack on the door of his truck. He
Didn't care. Didn't care. So, once again, we are living in a time where people are being confronted with realities that are making them uncomfortable. And I don't know where this is going, but I would encourage all of us to challenge ourselves to be empathetic and try some understanding of the pain that people are feeling. On all, I'll say it right now. I am not empathetic to hearing white pain, like what the Proud Boys represent. I'm not empathetic to that.
to feeling like white men aren't getting their fair shake.
I'm just not.
Well, that wouldn't make sense to me.
But I've tried to listen, and I just don't get it because it's not real. And the reason you feel that way is because if you're listening right now and you feel like white men are under attack, the reason you feel that way is because people who have been under attack are finding their voice, and you've never had to hear it before.
Because you were so privileged.
Because you were so privileged. So the pendulum swings, and, things are in a new, we are in a new era where minorities, women are finding their voice and finding their power and feeling comfortable with speaking out and dealing with their pain in public. People have hid for a long time. Think about the amount of women that hid in the workplace.
Of course.
Under attack.
Of course. It was hard enough getting that position and then speaking up, to get blacklisted, blackballed, and not getting another opportunity, getting fired for no reason.
And the amount of men I hear like, oh, now I can't do anything? What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? You mean you can't behave the way you used to because you're an a-hole and you made people feel threatened in the workplace? Yeah, that's problematic. Sorry, hate to break it to you. Get over it.
Well, no, and there are some like residual things that could exist, right, of hypersensitivity because of the time we live in. That is a byproduct of good change. So they would be like, oh, now we can't act the same way when we go out for drinks after work. Nah, not really. Things are a little different right now. So even if you weren't an a-hole, be sensitive to the fact that so many people were, that now that means that same sort of vibe you had, that has to be chilled out because people weren't uncomfortable. They were getting treated unfairly. Right. So I'm so sorry. I know that's hard. We don't want to get in the way of your good time while we're giving women equality in the workplace. Now that means you can't flirt with so-and-so the way you did before. Even if she didn't think you were a bad guy. Sorry. People cry about it.
You'll be all right.
You're going to be all right.
You're going to be all right, bro.
But, yo, Ebro, I asked a question yesterday. So I told you that yesterday someone called the K show, and he was like, Rosenberg, I listened to this show, and you're so biased against Trump. I'm so sick of it. He sounded so mad, so angry.
You are biased against Trump, man.
Well, apparently so. But here's my question. And then another person called up. I was like, hey, I just want you to know. She was trying to be a good guy. She's like, Rosenberg, I like you. I don't like your politics, but I like you. The problem I had with that is even in her effort to be nice, I was like, what politics do I espouse on that show? On the K show in the afternoons, the only politics I ever bring up are related to Colin Kaepernick,
that's it,
Donald Trump, the NFL, Black Lives. I don't consider caring about black lives to be political. So when you tell me I
Social.
don't like your politics, to me there's something so much more sinister about that they don't even realize. Politics, yo, they don't know my politics. I barely know my
No,
politics.
they assume your politics based on what you associate with, which would be liberal.
And if you support Colin Kaepernick, they're automatically going to think you're disrespecting the flag. You're not a patriot.
But what does that all mean? To me, it sounds like it means you don't support white people enough. You care about people who don't look like you. What are you doing? Why would you care about other people? That's how I take it. You're not with us. No, I'm not. I'm not with you.
Well, and I think that's once again, we're dealing with realities in this country right now that are going to make a lot of people uncomfortable, right? Which is, what is us? What do you mean us? Who's us?
Yeah, to me,
American citizens?
good people? People who don't judge other
People who actually believed in the marketing statement of the country, which was that you could come here and bring your beliefs and your family and get life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, not worry about being killed.
feel that the police are protecting you. That's the most basic thing that's so interesting is that, you know, I love that I'm able to pinpoint a specific feeling, which is that I have been in settings before where the feeling of seeing police is one of relief. Like, I'm like, oh, this situation's feeling a little crazy. Oh, cops are here.
I've definitely been there too.
And you've been there too. Of
course.
By the way, I'm not saying there are black people who have never felt that. Of
course.
They have. But I've never felt the other feeling of like, oh, God, why I'm alone. Here comes a police car. That's never, I don't know that feeling.
I know that feeling too.
And but you have to be willing to go, I don't know that feeling, but I can believe that that feeling exists. I'm not going to deny it simply because I don't have it.
Well, I think there's a greater denial in when you accept that that feeling exists, you're also accepting that the people who have that feeling, they matter. Uh-oh. Now here we are at Black Lives Matter, people mattering, right? Because when you're accepting that somebody's feelings actually matter, you're accepting that they matter and that they're humans also, and they have feelings, and they're not just lying or making something up.
Who's the comedian?
think.
Was it Chappelle who talked about how low the bar is for Black Lives Matter?
Yeah, it was Chappelle.
Chappelle, like people are upset about matter. That's like the most basic. Like what? Matter is the smallest thing.
Yes, it's insane.
It would be like I don't even care about the things that don't matter to me. Like even a cockroach. I like before I kill it, I feel a little bad. I'm like, nah, sorry, homie. It matters a little bit. Matter? Human lives? Why is that hard? It's so crazy. Racism is such a sickness. It's so ill.
It's mental health. And as a nation, we have a mental health disorders. We have disorders that are unaddressed. We have issues. I mean, the mounting issues are incredible. I mean, today, even today where people only care about their bank accounts, that's why they voted for Donald Trump most of the time. And then you have the racists also who support that, who are oftentimes not wealthy individuals who are supporting Trump simply based on race.
And the dog whistle.
And the
racism.
dog whistles of racism. Yeah. Today, you're going to hear the stock market not doing so well. Facebook dropping. Like, these things are starting to happen. And people are going to start, once again, this is going to start getting emotional in other ways. There's so many things happening right now in society that it's tough for people to even wrap their brains around it.
And wait until this trade war and tariff war picks up. And our prices go up because the president's trying to put tariffs on all these goods to our own allies, trying to rip off Canada and Mexico and the EU. And people are going to start really putting the squeeze on us.
I think we averted the EU thing. I think they came to a deal.
The EU's good.
I think so. I think I read that yesterday. But nonetheless, we as the greater American society, if we want this thing to work, we are going to have to take some serious looks in the mirror. And Reese Witherspoon and Anne Hathaway's post yesterday.
Thank you. It was Michael Che who made the Black Lives Matter joke, not Chappelle. Thank you.
Reese Witherspoon and Anne Hathaway are putting this on Front Street. I saw a black woman that I admire, Bevy Smith, who works for Page Six. Mm-hmm. She's on TV. She posted she talked about how the Women's March, she didn't feel like the white women involved in the Women's March that got involved ever cared about women that look like her. Because she's been in fashion and she's been in these worlds a long time.
Yeah.
So to see Reese Witherspoon and Anne Hathaway as white women.
And they're white. Like when you look up white in the dictionary, it's a picture of Reese Witherspoon. Literally, I just look. And Anne Hathaway's right next to her. Like, so that is a big deal. That is something to think about because we keep thinking about what can people do. And they're saying people need that is doing something.
Looking in the mirror and realizing and accepting that the black people in this country, the Mexican or Puerto Rican or Dominican or Indian or LGBTQ or whomever the minority group, what they're telling you about their experience is very real and very true. And it's an opportunity for you to listen and accept. And not go, nah, come on, nah, stop it.
Or I'm tired of you complaining. Stop complaining. It's all equal. Everyone's equal. It's America. Except one group got a 200-year head start, whatever it is, 400-year head start ahead of everybody else. But it's equal now. It's equal. Gay rights only became a thing in like the last 15 years. And people are like, what are you complaining about? Everything's equal. It's like, what? It was okay to just be openly homophobic yesterday. It's still okay to be openly racist against Muslims basically now.
And some people are very comfortable being openly racist against everybody.
Apparently so. So with these camera videos suggest. I thought racists were supposed to hide their racism.
Nah, this is the new one. They're proud now. They're the Proud Boys.
They're the Proud Boys.
Be proud of your racism. I got news for everybody out there too, and I've actually prayed on this several times, because where black folks are at with a lot of this stuff, we've done things the right way many, 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 many times over. Mm-hmm. And still systematically been caught in many traps, trusting
the system.
And I'm going to tell you one thing black folks ain't afraid of at this point. And this is what I pray is not happening. Black folks ain't afraid to go to jail. That's been happening. And black folks ain't afraid to die. That's been happening too. And what I hope doesn't transpire in the future is an atmosphere where black folks and minorities are forced to take in things into their own hands. And that's why it's important to have great leadership. Mm-hmm. And people that can quell and calm, because that's not what we have right now.
And there are a lot of people who are, with good reason, going to snap. And then you're in a situation now where you're forced to try to kind of get people to calm down and pull them in, but it's so hard to do that when it's going to be so easy to react viscerally to these horrible videos. If you watch that video of that guy yesterday pulling a black man aside in front of his own home to use the N-word just to remind him of his place in the most slave-like way at his house.
Over and over and over again.
I'm a white person. I watched it. My blood was boiling so bad. So I can imagine if you're a black person who's watching that, how it would make you feel. And then you're a person who's already experiencing, you've had your own things you're dealing with. Then to Ebro's point, you're someone with less consequences to maybe deal with. How are people like that going to react? And how do we...
I prayed, the reason I say I prayed is because I know that's the trap. The trap is to make people so emotional and incense them so much that they throw it all away.
And listen,
and some people are like, throw what away? What exactly are we throwing away?
Nothing to lose.
But to me, when I saw that video that Rosenberg is talking about, I was like, I can't believe this person is so calm.
Oh, it's incredible.
I'm like, this person followed you home already and is constantly just throwing this disgusting racial slur at you over and over. He was testing him and trying to take him to a different place.
Nah, this guy had the spirit of Dr. King in him.
Wow.
He was sitting there just like, I don't understand. Which, by the way, I know it doesn't feel that way. I know it feels like responding violently would be more satisfying, but there is something so satisfying. I've seen a bunch of videos like this. There was another one of ladies a few weeks ago.
The Puerto Rican woman.
Yeah, even her.
Yes.
And there was another one there was another one though where these black ladies were hanging out in like Florida somewhere, and some white lady and her husband are screaming the N-word, being so racist. And this lady and her friends are like, "Why are you so upset? What are you even saying right now?" And you cannot emphasize how damning it makes that person look.
It makes them.
It makes them
look
so
even
bad
angrier.
and crushes them because they
Yes.
want to get you angry. Then they want to call the police on you and say they were attacked.
Right. They're being harassed.
Look, I know this trick very well. Women have gotten mad at me for years for many things, and I never respond. And they get angry. Oh. You don't have any emotions towards this? Nah, I'm cool, chilling.
They're trying to get a reaction.
Yeah. So that's why I say I pray for it, because 2 instances in California, one in Oakland recently behind Nia Wilson, where the community showed up outside the bar where the Proud Boys hang out, waiting for them to come in or out.
They got one of them.
And one of them came around the corner and they started putting the beats on them. And I'm talking about not just a few people. The community came out like, yeah, nah, we're not going for that. And another incident happened with Maxine Waters doing a community event down in her area of L.A. And some white supremacist individuals came, and the community called, let's just call them the boys in the hood.
Well, because the LAPD wasn't showing up fast enough.
Right. And
Very few police officers
and
were
the
there.
community came out and was like, y'all should not be here.
You're not
Keep it
violating
moving.
Maxine. No way.
And then when things start going left like that, fortunately that didn't escalate, and they were just there to keep an eye on things, and they did. But when things start going left, you can end up having these really horrible, tragic things where people who aren't even involved end up getting hurt. It reminds me of Reginald Denny.
Yep.
The white man who was driving the truck during the riots, who was
Got pulled
beaten
out,
into
yeah.
he was messed up permanently, and there was video of it, and he was just a random dude. Because once things start getting crazy, now it's just crazy. And remember, this is interesting because as you pointed out in the Bay the other day, it's not like it was just black people protesting the white supremacists.
No.
They had white people out there with them, Mexicans, everyone was out there. Because this isn't the 60s. Now there are allies. People are in this together. So it could get very confusing.
Well, and mind you, even in the Bay Area in the 60s, I grew up there.
Yeah, there were allies then too, of course.
No, but I'm just saying, you had the Zapatista movement, you had the feminist movement, you had Jewish people who were with the Black Panthers as well. The idea of the Black Panthers and the power to the people got taken and violated in the newspaper as the Black Panthers were some sort of like black KKK organization. This was all people. This was power to the people.
Right.
And because black people in this country have always been on the front lines of civil rights and equality movements and sticking up for their communities, that's just ingrained in who we are. To be like, oh, okay, it's time? It's time? It's time? This is what we're doing?
Also, have you kept an eye on the people protesting outside the White House every night now?
I have.
So there are people outside screaming at the president every night, saying horrible and true things every single night. And my dad was telling me the other day that you could clearly see, there was a moment where you could clearly see Trump stop, and it was making it, like he was sitting there listening to what these people were saying. Nothing would drive him more crazy than people standing outside. So there are ways and methods to protest that can be impactful and nonviolent.
But once again, I encourage everyone to, in this time, have dialogue, and understand what is happening in our country, because we are being confronted with some things that will be very uncomfortable for some time. But if we're going to ignore them, they're not going to get better. People are hurting. People are afraid. People have been lied to for generations. Our government and our leadership is not quality. Just caring about your bank account and how much money you made because the president is who they are is not going to fix what we need to have fixed moving forward. If we believe in this American ideal, if we want to be who we say we want to be, it's going to take some work from right now and not just acting like all of this negativity is being made up or placing blame on the victims for talking about race just because you're too uncomfortable to talk about. Well, if you guys would stop bringing it up, I would fix it. Fam.
I know. Victim blaming.
Stop it. T-Bro in the morning.